Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, I will now conduct the roll call. First, Jovan Samuel Collado.
Present.
Honorable Marilyn D. Go. Kevin Hanratty, Esquire.
Present.
Kristen Johnson, Esquire. Gregory Kirschenbaum, Esquire.
Present.
Thank you. Maria Mateo, Esquire. Darren Porcher.
Present.
Michael Schnall.
Present.
Joshua Schneps.
Here.
Lisa Soren.
Present.
Monsignor Kevin Sullivan.
Present.
Maf Misbah Uden.
Present.
Dennis M. Walcott.
Present.
Kai Ki Wang.
Present.
Mark Wurzel.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum, and now I will ask the members of the commission to please stand for the oath of office. Okay, would everyone please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Dennis Walcott,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York
and the Constitution of the State of New York
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
Commissioner
Commissioner
for the New York City Districting Commission
for the New York City Districting Commission
of the City of New York,
of the City of New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Commissioners. Please be seated.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I will now ask, do any members have any business they wish to begin? Please raise your hand to indicate.
Nomination and election of the chair of this commission. And I am proud and pleased to nominate Dennis Walcott, well known to all of us in New York City, and a person who is not only knowledgeable about the demographics of this city from his past experience, he's also served the city well as prior chancellor of the Department of Education and now as the head of the Queens Public Library.
Thank you, Your Honor. Does anyone wish to second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, okay, there will be no discussion. No one wishes to proceed. Okay, then I will ask, would you please indicate your approval by voting aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Does anyone wish to vote in the negative? Okay, the ayes have it, and the chair is Dennis M. Walcott. Congratulations, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mark, and thank you to the commissioners. It really is an honor to be here and to be one of 15, and it really is a pleasure to serve with all of you to really take a hand this important task. And with me, I think it's important to say that we will address a number of issues, and we will follow the city charter. We will be extremely transparent. And just from our introduction to each other, we've already formed a nice network with each other. And I look forward to our relationship together and working hand in hand and making sure we adhere and meet our goals. With that being said, I would like to also raise the important topic of the Code of Ethics. And what I would like to suggest to the body is that once we have our staff in place, that we will circulate a proposed code of ethics for us to follow, and that way we can have time to review it and then adopt it or make any modifications we feel are appropriate. That way we can have a public discussion around the code of ethics and then formally approve it if that's okay with the body. We're fine with that? Thank you very much. And then with that being said, I think the next item for us to discuss is the issue of personnel. And while we're here as volunteers, the important work will also be done by our great team of people that we'll be recruiting. And that, to me, is extremely important, not just for us, but for the city of New York. And before I move on with our personnel, I would like to have each of us say a couple of words, so that way the public here and the public who may be watching us will have a sense of who we are. And I will go by the order that was presented by the city clerk. And so, Yvonne Collado.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you said, we've already, in our introductions, we've already formed a very nice network here. I am looking forward to this process and yeah, looking forward to working with everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you. And the judge, let's go.
My name is Marilyn Go, and I'm a retired U.S. Magistrate Judge for the Eastern District of New York. Excuse me.
Kevin Hanratty.
Kevin Hanratty, I'm from Queens, and I'd just like to say I'm grateful for this opportunity to serve, and I look forward to working with everybody here. Thank you.
Kristen Johnson. I'm not sure if Kristen is here yet. Okay. Gregory Kirschenbaum.
Greg Kirschenbaum from Manhattan. Not to beat a dead horse, but I am also very excited to serve on this commission and to help with this process, and I look forward to working with everybody here.
Maria Mateo.
I'm sorry, Maria Mateo. I'm an attorney and I'm located in Queens. I'm also very excited to be here today and to serve in this commission. I look forward to the job that we're going to do for this city. Thank you and good night.
Darren Porcher.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darren Porcher. I'm an educator. I'm a professor at Pace University right across the street. I served the city for 20 years in the NYPD, and it's an esteemed honor to be a part of this commission.
Michael Schnall.
Good evening. My name is Mike Schnall. I believe I'm the only Staten Islander on the panel, so I'm looking forward to having you guys out to the Rock. I just want to say I'm having a little bit of a flashback here. I was a city council staffer many years ago when I had much more hair and sat on this dais for many hours during the finance hearings with Jeff Rodas and others. So I'm thrilled to be back here, sitting up here, to do some great work with all of you. Thank you.
So, Michael, since you said that, and I'm going to be very serious, but I have to add this bit of just history to this discussion as well. Even though you might be the only Staten Islander, I will say, even though I'm from Queens, I think most of my blood was shed in Staten Island because I used to play football out there on a regular basis. So you have a lot of me there representing Staten Island. Just so you know that. I know all the little nooks and crannies and parks and everything else. So you have somebody who understands Staten Island very well. And Joshua Schnepp.
Hello, everybody. I'm Josh Schneps. It's great to be a part of this process. My company is Schneps Media. We produce many of the local community newspapers throughout New York City, so I'm very passionate about all the neighborhoods and look forward to being a part of this process.
Lisa Soren.
Good evening, everyone, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve on this commission. Like my colleagues, I am thrilled to be here and be able to share the experience and really do right by our city. And for Staten Island, you're always welcomed in the Bronx because we take in, anybody who wants the best borough in the area.
Monsignor Kevin Sullivan.
Dennis, thank you.
Hold on.
I was born in the Bronx, live in Manhattan, spent 4 years in college in Queens, spent 3 summers working in Brooklyn, and I did a little census work for 2 weeks in Staten Island. So
I will save me for last. And Kaiki Wang.
Yes, my name is Kaiki architect. I have experience, especially I worked for the city for 35 years as a zoning, building code, and high-rise building specialist. So this, I'm honored by Mr. Mayor for this position. For me, it's new, completely is a new field, different domain. But I'm going to do a serious learn for the process, everything from all of my colleagues. So that's my. So today I'm so honorable with the present to all of this my colleague and George. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. And Mark Wurzel. Mark?
Good evening. My name is Mark Wurzel.
Thank you.
My day job is General Counsel of Grand Central Partnership, the business improvement district that covers East Midtown. My evening gig is a father of two, a dog walker of Winnie the Pooh, and a husband. And this is the third time I'm serving on this commission, so I probably need to have my head examined. Thank you.
You know, Mark, I was going to raise that as far as you being here 3 times, and I don't know if anyone else can actually say that of this body. So, Mark, no, we don't want your head examined. We really rely on your knowledge and depth of information as we go through this important process. So,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes. Oh, Mas. I'm sorry, Mas. No, I apologize. I skipped right over you. Mas. Uden. Mas, thank you.
United States is involved with the union. I am still the treasurer of District Council 37, president of Local 427. I represent all the accountants, tax auditors, and those who will calculate some of your pension. And of course, I am a resident of the Bronx, but then moved to Queens. Very honored that I am part of this commission. I think I am here to listen, learn, and recommend. Thank you very much.
And my apologies again, Mas. And with that being said, I just can't thank the mayor, the speaker, and the minority leader enough for their guidance and nominating all of us to serve on this important body. And I want to thank their team members as well for being there and really giving us the support as we geared up to have our first meeting. So again, thank you to the mayor, to the speaker, to the minority leader, and to the staff of all for all of your support. Now, speaking of staff, we have the important task of affirming and discussing the staff that we're recommending at our initial meeting. And in your packet, you will have the resumes of individuals that will be taking a look at and hopefully affirming, starting with our executive director, and that is John Lewis Flateau, who is also a professor at Medgar Evers College, as well as a person who is well steeped in the business of redistricting and making sure he provides his guidance. Along with that, we have Joseph G. Maligno, Esquire, for your review as well, who went to the Fordham Law School. The only reason I single that out because I am a Fordham graduate, so it's important for me to highlight that. We also have Louis Finkelman in his capacity as GC. And in addition to that, we have, I'm not going to mess it up, Ali Rasul Linajed. And did I get it halfway? Oh, very good. And Ali is going to be the chief of staff, and then also going back to Joseph is the deputy general counsel. And so we have all here except for one. And with that, if there are discussions around the recommended appointees, we would entertain any discussion that any of you may have at this particular point. Motion to accept by Lisa. Is there a second? Second by Michael. Discussion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and so we want to welcome our new staff to the table. And with that also being said, that we will have them get to the task at hand of having other staff and making sure we communicate both to the commissioners as well as to the public. But also, I think it's important, with the permission of the members, to have John, the professor, come and say a couple of words and talk about your background and experience, both to the members as well as to the audience itself. So, Professor Flateau. You can want to use this?
Professor. Thank you. My name is John Flateau, and I'm deeply honored and privileged for this action that the commission, the Districting Commission, has just taken to identify the staff to do the work on behalf of the commission, on behalf of city government, and behalf of 9 million New Yorkers to reset urban democracy here in New York City. I'm an educator, a professor also in the field of poli-sci and public administration. I've worked with a number of commissions. In fact, 20 years ago, I served on one of these city districting commissions, and I just finished up serving with the state commission, the new independent Redistricting Commission. We just finished our work last month after 2 years. So the knowledge is hot on the brain, and we just finished doing New York City and the entire state. So we hope to bring to that knowledge, to the work that, to underpin the work that you're going to ratify and put together and charge us to do. And we'll have an excellent team of staffers to get the job done. So I'm honored and privileged to be designated to be your executive director. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Questions for John? If not, I would like to also ask the commissioners for any recommendations as we move forward for the other positions as well. So we want to make sure this is a very open process and having that communicated. And what we will do is make sure both from the body here as well as through the public, make those positions known, because the next item I would like to discuss is our budget. And that's an important point. And I know a lot of the good government groups have recommended making sure that we have a public budget up front, and we will be approving, hopefully, a budget that was set aside by our elected officials. So I think we're passing out the budget right now. So if you, let me just take one for myself. Now, if all of you have copies of the budget, you will see that we have a bottom line of $1,035,000 budget set aside for the work over the next number of months. And we have a number of positions available for us to select from, and we want to make sure that you, the commissioners, as well as people have any ideas and recommendations of individuals, please forward it to our executive director, and that way we can move on these as quickly as possible. And again, I will defer to our three-timer, Mark, for any guidance as well, because Mark has the experience of past commissions. But these are very serious positions, and they're positions that are important for us to carry out our work as quickly as possible. I would be glad to entertain any discussion on the budget right now. Any questions that people may have?
I have a question.
Kevin, please.
Yes. These seem to be all salaries for other things like printing or costs, other costs that might be associated, space rental. Is that somewhere else, or is that covered for?
So I'll look to the staff who are out there from our respective offices. I know there's an office set aside at, I think, 253. And so that's already been put in place. As far as any of the other OTPS costs that we will have to address, I think that will also be covered, and we'll make sure we take care of that as well, because obviously we'll be doing a lot of printing and getting information out, and so that will be part of the discussion. So this really just covers, as you indicated, Kevin, the personnel side of the budget. Other questions? Monsignor?
Which ones did we just fill?
Good question. So we filled the executive director, the deputy, the chief of staff, and the GC. Am I correct in, still, those are ones we just filled.
And Dennis, one other question. Does this include fringe?
Does this include the fringe benefits? I would imagine it does, yes.
Okay.
What is the timetable?
Please, Judge.
What is the timetable for,
As quickly as possible, but I mean, also being realistic as well in that you're just getting this information. But we want to make sure that we have the full team in place, ideally within a several-week period of time. But obviously, we have to do the vetting that's required and making sure that it meets the due diligence of people that meet the qualifications. But ideally, within the next several weeks, we would like to have names come in so that way the staff can then review them and then we can communicate, which feeds into an item dealing with new business, but I'm not moving off of personnel either, in that I would like for us to reach agreement, not specifically with a date now, but for us to reconvene within a couple of weeks, because I think we have a lot of work in front of us, and today was really just starting out that process. And with that being said, I think we can then go over those recommended positions that people would bring to the table. Then we would have a presentation by our staff as far as the timeline for the implementation of the data system and everything else that we're talking about, and also they'll be settled in to the offices. And the other key thing is that I think is extremely important is that we make our way around the boroughs as well, and making sure we try to get to as many communities and making sure that we share the information, people understand what's going on, both through the community engagement part, but also through the live streaming process. So, Judge, to go back to your original question, as quickly as possible, but also being realistic that we want to make sure we do the appropriate due diligence as well.
one more question.
Please.
How will this be publicized besides through word of mouth?
We'll be having it on our website, and we'll also be sharing information with all the various good government groups and the various organizations that are involved, and making sure, which is not my area of expertise, but using social media as well. So if you're relying on me for social media, then we're not going to get it out. So we'll have the experts who know social media to make sure things are posted on social media as quickly as possible, so that way people have the information out there. Lisa? Job descriptions, we'll be glad to get back to you with specific outlines of the job descriptions. We just wanted to give you a sense of the outline and the salaries, so that way we can see the budget and the bottom line, and then the salaries connected to it. And then with the job descriptions, we will fill that in and get it to you by the beginning of next week. Other questions? Please.
Budget issue, because it was brought already to your attention. And also you mentioned there will be a website. I think we need at least $250,000 there for this kind of miscellaneous work that has to be done throughout the process.
I'm sorry, I couldn't. Miscellaneous category, is that what you said?
Yes, we are saying that we need at least additional $250,000 to do the rest of the things, including website, including renting the places. Sometime if you are taking those hearings, finding place will be difficult, the way I know it.
So that goes also to the OTPS. So I think other than personnel services, we will have to work and negotiate with the budget folks to make sure the OTPS is covered appropriately. And if others have suggestions on what should be included in the OTPS category, then we should include that. And that way we can go back and try to raise the appropriate money from the city itself.
Thank you.
I think those are extremely valid points. Other points or questions around
Mr. Chair.
budget? Yes, sir.
I was going to recommend that you request that our new executive director, John, if he can possibly distribute a copy of Chapter 2A of the city charter. That is the sort of the roadmap and the guidelines that govern how we were all appointed, and does provide some insight, the criteria that we will apply when we go about our work, redrawing these council district lines. It will also, it'll also establish sort of the parameters that we will operate in. And I think it would be very helpful, I think, to all of the commissioners to take a look at that, because that's going to essentially govern how we conduct ourselves over the next 24 to 18 months.
Excellent suggestion, and I would add to that, I think there are a number of additional reports that are out there by good government groups as well that, for me, have been extremely helpful in laying the foundation of our charge, and also working with our team and the executive director and the other team members as far as what we have to do over the next period of time. And so Citizens Union report and working with other good government groups, they have provided, I think, some real quality information, and having discussions with them will be very helpful as we move forward. But I think, Mark, those are excellent suggestions that we'll follow up on. So thank you very much. Monsignor.
The other piece of information, is there the standard raw census data information on the boroughs and on the districts? That would be helpful.
Yes to that, and also I think with the part of that, as well as the mapping requirements, as well as dealing with the computer-generated mapping and having more detailed information, I think is extremely important. And I think our step-by-step process of first having our staff affirm today, and then moving forward for that type of information, everything that Mark and others talked about, will lay, I think, a solid foundation. Maria?
Yes, that was exactly my question. I think that we have to provide the public with an online mapping software so that people can directly and through the online system contribute to ideas. And I was wondering if that will be included in the budget of the computer system manager. I don't know if that's too premature, but something that we have to take into consideration.
So part of, I think, the way we're going to do our business, which is going to be done extremely well, is having those types of both information and equipment to make sure we carry it out in a high-level way. And so yes to the computer mapping, as well as the type of software that's required in today's world. So again, that's part of the discussions with the budget folks and making sure the appropriate monies are there, but also having the staff lay that out for us, and the executive director and others, and making sure that they get back to us as quickly as possible. That's why we should do a quick turnaround for a meeting. That way we can then incorporate all the suggestions that are being made tonight and have that ready for us in a couple of weeks. So I totally agree with you. Other suggestions or points to raise? If there aren't any, then what I would like to suggest is that we will poll you ASAP as far as the best day. And I know it's going to be tough when we have this many members and finding the ideal time, but I know there are a lot of conflicts, and everyone who's busy, who's here, is going to be busy elsewhere as well. But we want to get on that as quickly as possible and first find out if there are any really bad days for folks, so we can then mark that off. And then from there, we'll try to pin something down by hopefully Friday to decide on both the date, the time, which should be around now, because we want to make sure we maximize the public involvement and try to do it at 6 p.m., and then the location. And so with that being said, staff will poll folks along with myself, and I see that we've been joined by Kristen. So welcome. It was a pleasure. And if we can, take just a couple of seconds, if you would just kindly introduce yourself. And I don't know if we have to have you sworn in. No. Personally, but I think it was a group swearing in, so I think you have the glow and the halo of being sworn in as well. So if you just take a couple of seconds and say who you are and your background.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Johnson from the fantastic borough of Brooklyn, and by trade, I'm a civil rights lawyer, and so I'm happy to be here to serve with my fellow commissioners to make sure we represent all New Yorkers fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Really, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And so I think how we're wrapping it up is that over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of days, we're going to set up a meeting for the next couple of weeks, to really get down to some serious business and talk about next steps, staffing, equipment, other than personnel services. You should have before you, if not, we'll give you a copy of the budget as well. And also you should have before you, and if not, we'll give you copies of the resumes of the staff that we just affirmed. Michael?
Mr. Chair, I'm suggesting that maybe we allow all 15 of us to submit some conflicts that we might have so that the staff can discern what date works best, for at least April, just so that we can be upfront about what conflicts everyone has.
Oh, sure. I think that's a great idea. Okay, so we can do that. And when you talk also about conflicts, again, we'll deal with the code of ethics and deal with the conflicts of interest.
I meant in terms of dates.
No, I'm saying, but your word of conflicts just reminded me as we wrap it up to also we'll focus on at the next meeting the code of ethics and dealing with the conflicts of interest. Nope, I picked up the conflict of dates as well. So we're good. Other questions, suggestions?
Just a
Monsignor, please.
Technical question. Will we get emails at real emails or just the ones that I can't access? The redistrictor.
So, again, don't forget what I said earlier about when we deal with technology and all that. That's not me as far as my area of expertise. But you raise a very good point in that separate emails have been set up or will be set up for all of us. We should have that already in place. So that's the main form of communication with each other around redistricting type of questions and information and flow of information. And also as we move forward around the code of ethics, making sure that we deal with any conflicts because we want to be very clear as far as protecting ourselves and the process as we move forward as well. I don't have an answer yet, but I think it's there where we're going to be looking at having separate equipment as well. And so, and I may get a look later on about saying that, but I think we're trying to make sure we have, the separate phones because I don't want us to have any type of hint of any conflicts at all. So we need to be very strict and creative as far as making sure we obviously use the equipment that we have along with our emails that are specifically redistricting for any both commissioner communication, obviously with our team and others as well. Questions? Further questions? Discussions?
I guess one other question. Will
Please.
we have access to 253 if we need to sit down, grab a desk, do some work during the day?
Without question. Now, I don't know how large the office is, but without question, 253 is the New York City Redistricting office. So that is the office that we should be using and stopping at as well. So that ability is there for us to take advantage of.
You have
Yes, sir.
Room number or suite number?
I don't have that yet, but it's the 7th floor?
Historically, that's where the districting commission has been for the last rounds. And it's on the website. They're still listing as 253 Broadway, right across the street, 7th floor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. If I can entertain a motion to adjourn, and then we'll decide and do the polling.
So moved.
Lisa? Second, Mark? Michael? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you for a very important first meeting, and my best to all of you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.